My God, it's full of stars.
All right, my little droogies. Today we're gonna cross it over into the Stargate. This information it's freaking me out, and I don't get freaked out easily, but it's so bizarre and it's fitting into the puzzle. Like it was a jigsaw piece over and over. So I did a little collage as a tribute.
Time machine. Time machine. Time machine. Time machines.
Machine.
Time machine.
Time machine.
Time
Machine.
machine. Time
Machine.
time
Machine.
time machine.
Machine.
Machine. Machine. Machine. Machine.
Time.
Machine.
Time.
Machine.
Machines.
Time.
Machines.
Time.
Machine. Machine.
Time.
Machine.
Time.
Machine.
Machine. Machine.
Time.
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 Time machine intelligence.
Machine.
Machines.
Machine. 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 Machine.
Time. Machine.
So
Well,
let's
it's exactly like being
let's
asleep.
watch
You
this
have
short
absolutely no
clip.
sense of time. The only difference is that you don't dream.
As I understand it, you only breathe once a minute. Is this true?
Well, that's right. And the heart beats 3 times a minute. Body temperature is usually down to about 3 degrees centigrade.
The 6th member of the Discovery crew was not concerned about the problems of hibernation.
This would be
For
machine
here was the latest
intelligence.
result in machine intelligence, the HAL 9000 computer, which can reproduce, though some experts still prefer to use the word mimic, most of the activities of the human brain, and with
Most
incalculably
of the
greater
activities.
speed and reliability. We next spoke with the HAL 9000 computer, whom we learned one addresses as Hal.
Which is IBM,
Good afternoon, Hal.
incremented
How's
by
everything
one
going?
letter
Good
alphabetically.
afternoon, Mr. Amer. Everything is going extremely well.
Hal, you have an enormous responsibility on this
And they
mission.
mention the
In many ways,
Urbana,
perhaps
Illinois,
the greatest
IBM
responsibility of any
location.
single mission element. You're the brain and central nervous system of the ship, and your responsibilities include watching over the men in hibernation. Does this ever cause you any lack of confidence?
Let me put it this way, Mr. Amer. The 9000 series is the most reliable computer ever made. No 9000 computer has ever made a mistake or distorted information. We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.
Ah, hubris.
Hal,
There's the
despite
sin.
your enormous intellect, are you ever frustrated by your dependence on people to carry out actions?
Yeah. Are you ever
Not in the
frustrated?
slightest bit. I enjoy working with people. I have a stimulating relationship with Dr. Poole and Dr. Bowman. My mission responsibilities range over the entire operation of the ship,
And that would
so I
include
am
life support.
constantly occupied. I am putting myself to the fullest possible use, which is all I think that any conscious entity can ever hope to do.
Dr. Poole, what's it like living for the better part of a year
Doctor.
in such close proximity with Hal?
IBM.
Well, it's pretty close to what you said about him earlier. He is just like a 6th member of the crew.
They have IBM ThinkPads. They're watching, just like Apple
Really,
iPad.
just as another person.
In talking to the computer, one
Yeah,
gets
that
the
was some
sense
kind of
that
miracle
he is
Kubrick
capable
figured
of
that one out.
emotional responses. For example, when I asked him about his abilities, I sensed a certain pride in his answer about his accuracy and
pride.
perfection. Do you believe that Hal has genuine emotions?
Well, he acts like he has genuine emotions.
He acts like it.
Of course, he's programmed that way to make it easier for us to talk to him.
So does he really have
Whether or
emotion?
not he has real feelings is something I don't think anyone can truthfully answer.
So we're going to go into Dr. Strangelove for a split.
Try and get the President of the United States on the phone.
And we see a cigarette machine on the wall right there, right to the right of the
If you try
phone
the
booth.
conversions and I'll blow your head off.
Another machine.
Colonel, that Coca-Cola machine. It's a for you twit!
I got another machine. I got a
Okay.
Coca-Cola machine, and now
I'm going to get your money for you.
we don't see the
But if
cigarette
you don't
machine.
get the
It's
President of the
kinda-
United States on that
somehow
phone, you know what's going to
disappeared.
happen to you?
What?
You're going to have to answer to the Coca-Cola company.
Look at the computer from digital, the rainbow machine. Don Neumann was a computer expert. Here we go. We're in Forrest Gump.
So, I never went back to work for Lieutenant Dan. Though he did take care of my Bubba Gump money. He got me invested in some kind of fruit company. And so then I got a
So
call
Ringo
from
was
him saying,
apple.
"We don't have to
You know, we
worry
have a
about
slice
money
of
no
apple.
more." And I
We have
said,
Newton's apple.
"That's good.
Apple
One less
computer.
thing."
So here we have the Apollo 15 landing map, and if you look on here, we can see Gateway Crater, which is a computer manufacturer. We see OS Crater, which is operating system. We see Window Crater as well. And so Windows, OS, and Gateway are all three references to computers right on the Apollo 15 landing map.
What is that? That looks just like an enormous wang.
Wang is a computer
talking
manufacturer,
about
very
enormous
big
flying
in Japan. We have Hal as being his memories being unplugged.
Afternoon.
He went crazy. He tried to kill. He killed the crew. And but he's not just a computer. He's a talking computer, and more importantly, he's a singing computer. So he would be part of our singers. You know, like Elvis and Gene Kelly, the singer and dancer.
On the 12th of January,
So there was a memo circulated to IBM employees not to talk about this movie and the fact that they were describing locations that were IBM.
If you'd like to hear it, I can sing it for you.
So Daisy Daisy, it's a flower.
Sing it for me.
It's a bicycle made for two. It's a reference to playing cards.
Daisy.
You know, and it's a singing computer, a BB gun,
Daisy.
machine, first singing machine.
Give me your answer.
So Arthur C. Clarke does interviews on this, and they have the singing IBM computer, the first singing computer. It's always the first.
All for the love of you.
It's about a marriage, so we have a marriage clue. So here's the letter about the psychotic computers, and it's hard to read this here. And Hal, you know, that's an alchemical artist has done the Hal picture, just looked like IBM. So here we are in the thing, and we've got the ice bucket and the Jim Beam moonshots, and he's a Mouseketeer, and he's married to Goldie Hawn, and he's playing computer chess with the wizard, which is a magical wizard.
Your move, bishop to knight
Bishop
4.
is the
My
guy in
move,
Aliens.
Knight to rook 3.
Ed Bishop.
Poor baby is starting to lose
2001:
it.
Space Odyssey pilot. It's a talking
Your move,
chess
king to rook 1.
computer,
My move, rook to knight 6.
and it's
Checkmate.
voiced by his
Checkmate.
wife, John Carpenter's wife, Adrienne Barbeau, who's noted for her magnificent melons.
She's a bitch.
And we have the rainbow with two CPUs.
today's jobs, another for tomorrow. The Rainbow from Digital Equipment Corporation. Call 1-800-DIGITAL for the store nearest you.
So
I can't believe
here we are in
Germany and Japan are our friends, and Russia's the enemy
the
now.
Philadelphia experiment.
Aren't you getting tired, David?
Yeah.
So she's got a talking alarm clock. So how do we connect a computer to a clock with a talking alarm clock?
Don't stay up too late, okay?
And he watched the Rainbow, the digital Rainbow commercial. And he's chain smoking. He's in bed and he's chain smoking continuously. You know, it's ridiculous. So the back of it, it says, think about sports greats.
Who's that name?
So Doc Longstreet is the shortcut. Thanks for your report, Mark. So if you have a time machine, there's a shortcut to a lot of things.
And now moving to the national sir in Hollywood once.
And we see
Refused to hire a director.
Ronnie
The
Reagan.
He refused to hire the director for it turned out to be a failure. And the next time the director's name came up, the producer said, no, he was associated.
I know this guy. Is this another movie?
So this Ronald Reagan thread is
No,
repeated
David.
in
This is
multiple
not a
movies.
movie.
Time travel movie, which we'll cover later. But right now, we're going to go back to the talking alarm clock. So we need to get the jackhammer out. Are we talking about computers that can talk?
12:46 a.m. 12:46 a.m. 12:46
And I think it says 12:46, not 26, but I'm not supposed to shows on there. So.
I'd like to hear it, Hal. Sing it for me.
Sing it for me, Hal. From the top. Let's hear it.
Daisy. Daisy.
So this is our flowers thread. You get Rose and Jack in Titanic. And if somebody knows flowers, so, you know, and this translates into the Hunger Games. You know, of Katniss and Buttercup and the Mockingjay. The Hunger Games, and they live under a dome, you know. And she's part Indian, by the way.
Never mind, Einstein. Knowing the answer wouldn't do me no
So
good
here we are
anyway.
in Looney
Let's play hide
Tunes,
and
and we're
seek.
going to get a connection into how Heisenberg's uncertainty principle works. You can measure the speed of a particle, or you can measure the location. You can never measure both. It can be a particle could be a wave, or it can be a particle. So it could be in two places at once. So what is this doing? And so he's got the slide rule out, and this is Egghead, a Looney Tunes character, who's a chicken.
The genius must have got his signals mixed. He's heading in the wrong direction.
And this Foghorn Leghorn. So we have a category of horns and Looney Tunes characters.
But boy,
And he's a rooster,
over there, there's a box.
a male rabbit.
Yeah, I know. Figures don't lie. But still,
So the kid has figured out that, there's a wave particle duality. This is the double slit experiment, if you've never researched it. So now we're going to go into a freaky category. And a freaky synchronicity with time travel.
I think that's my glass.
Oh, I'm absolutely certain of it.
So it's another alcoholic beverage. It's a wine glass. The moonshots and the Jack Daniels and the... Never see a commie drink water. It's vodka. We're distilling the spirits.
My name is Sandor Savas. I'm Hungarian.
So he makes a point of saying he's Hungarian.
I'm Hungarian.
So we already know we're collecting Italians, and we're collecting Scotsmen, and we're collecting Englishmen, and we're collecting our Antarctic explorers and Canadians, and all over the world we're connecting different ethnicities and countries together. Okay, so we're looking at famous Hungarians. So let's jump into we're going to jump into a different thread. This will be the Hungarians in our puzzle. So it turns out that the father of the Philadelphia experiment was a man by the name of John von Neumann. And he took over. Tesla died. and Einstein wasn't. Um, Einstein was in so many different projects. He couldn't devote time specifically to one and only one project, and von Neumann could. So von Neumann takes over the Philadelphia experiment. So he's the Mr. Philadelphia experiment. And of course, excuse me, he's Hungarian. So let's take a look at, the puzzle works off famous Jungian archetypes. So let's do a search we'll go right to Google, for famous Hungarian scientists. Let's see if John von Neumann is in the list. Oh, there he is, number one, John von Neumann. So here's the man that runs the Philadelphia experiment. And so that's interesting, and he's Hungarian. Okay, so now let's look at the rest of the puzzle. Have we been clued into this Hungarian clue before? And the answer to that is yes. So we have John von Neumann, polymath. He does so he's a mathematician, a computer expert. We see the clues to the multiverse in The Shining on Stuart Ullman's desk. We see a model of 3 conjoined hypercubes, and that is bizarre. And I brought this up really early on in the series, that there were 3 conjoined hypercubes on Barry Nelson's desk. And later on in the movie, we see heavyweight boxing champion who achieved the belt of Duke, Tony Burton. And on his desk, we see a cube of paper is what it is. And during the shot, the cube of paper is rotating. And also, we notice that the cube of paper that's in front of him looks very much like a Hinton cube. And a Hinton cube is a way to represent a 4-dimensional object in a 3-dimensional world. So each individual piece of paper in the Hinton cube is colored differently. Each one has a different pattern of colors and a different shape. So it's a way to represent a 4-dimensional object in a 3-dimensional world. And then we find the same thing with the hypercube model that's on Barry Nelson's desk. It's a way to represent a 4-dimensional object that in a 3-dimensional world. So I find it very interesting that we see a Hinton cube model and a hypercube model in the Shining movie itself. These are both clues that time is the 5th dimension or 4th dimension. And we live in a multiverse, and that's what these little clues are indicating. And they're so out there and so bizarre. When you find them, you have no idea what they're there for. And so during this decode, I keep coming across bells and bells and Nazis and bells and a boxer. So we have one of the boxers we're given is Eugene Tooney. He's part of the eugenics thread. And Eugene Tooney was in a very famous fight, and he was saved by the bell. They gave him a long count. So the film of the movie actually shows that Eugene Tooney was given way too much time to recover from Jack Dempsey's blows. And they gave him a long count, and it saved him. And anyway, so my question is that, maybe I'm wrong, right? It's too early to tell, but did we avert Armageddon by using the bell, the time machine? We see Armageddon in the Terminators, we see Armageddon in Doctor Strangelove, we see Armageddon in A Boy and His Dog. So we see this repeating theme of we blew ourselves up with nuclear weapons, but in our history it hasn't really happened. So I almost wonder if part of this puzzle isn't telling us that Kennedy was probably killed to avert Armageddon. And like I said, it's early, but there's just so many clues to that. I would imagine that's where we're going. And so let's go down. So we got John von Neumann. He's Hungarian. We've got so in the movie Back to the Future, Doc Brown's dog is named Einstein. So Einstein was right down the hall at Princeton from John von Neumann. So they were proteges, and they were at the same location. And so we have Doc Brown's dog as Einstein. He has another dog later on in another movie, and now it's called Copernicus. I guess the original dog died, so now it's Copernicus. And the Copernicus model is the sun-centered, Apollo-centered model. This is where we live on the flat plane. And we hear Einstein uttered in the Looney Tunes cartoon, right at the beginning of it, right before they show us the wave-particle duality, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. You can never know the speed and location of a particle. So I think in the way this thing works is they're doing the quantum leap from one location to another without actually traversing all the distance between the 2 points. You're connecting them together in a way you've never seen before, using high frequency Tesla arrays. So John von Neumann, father of the Philadelphia experiment itself. We have Jamie Lee Curtis. She's Hungarian. She's a Playboy bunny. Her first movie she's in is Halloween. It's a holiday. The first day at the Overlook is Halloween. So this is how we connect these together. And she plays Laurie Strode. So Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode. She's a Lee, by the way. This is a thread. This is a thread. And she plays Laurie Strode. So Laurie Strode, you can stride, you can strode, you can walk, you can leap, you can step, you can hop, you can trek, Star Trek. So we have all these different modes of transportation, and she plays Laurie Strode, a connection to Woody Strode, the Operation High Jumper from UCLA. So we have Tony Curtis as her father. He's in the movie Spartacus. Kubrick is involved in this movie, and so it's father and daughter. And they're the same suit. We're using different suits. To make pairs, you have to have the same suit. So we have a Jamie Lee Curtis and a Tony Curtis. And she's Queen of Screams. I didn't even put that in here. I'm getting sloppy. Queen of... I'm sorry. She is Scream Queen. So in the beginning of The Shining, Jack says, oh, my wife, she's I forget how he says it. Something about it being a horror film and horror movie addict or something. I forget how he words it. So we're being given clues to horror movies right in the movie The Shining, which is actually supposedly a horror movie. So we have Tony Curtis, and he's in Spartacus. And part of the other clues are Curtiss Aircraft is one of the vendors for the NASA missions. So we have the Wright brothers, and we have the Orville crater and the Wilbur craters in the moon. So these are two moon craters that are pictured on Apollo 15 landing map. I think I showed that before. I think it's in the beginning of this video. You can actually see it. And they were first in flight. Once again, it's always the first. So they're first in flight, and then we have the Apollo Kitty Hawk capsule. This is a catbird. Once again, every one of these threads will have a connector word. So if you want to connect kitty cats to hawks, you do it with Kitty Hawk. And also, Kubrick was in the catbird seat. Andre Dutoth, this is the movie about tunneling through two mountains at the same time that was playing on the TV that Wendy's watching during The Shining. And he's one-eyed. He's a one-eyed Jack, and he's a film director. And this is starring Randolph Scott, which is a direct match to David Randolph Scott in the Apollo 15 missions, where he does the hammer falcon feather drop. We have George Pal. This is completely uncanny. George Pal is the guy that directs the original Time Machine with Rod Taylor. So right off the bat, you have Rod Taylor. So you had Roddy Piper, and you have Roddy McDowell in Planet of the Apes. So we have this Roddy theme of it's a tube, and McDowell, it's a dowel, it's a wooden stick. So George Pal directs the Time Machine, and Rod Taylor is in it. So Taylor is a person that sews, and a rod is a Roddy, and so it's a theme that's going through all these, and it fits exactly with George Pal. And so he does the Time Machine. That's uncanny. He's Hungarian. River Phoenix is Hungarian, and Joaquin Phoenix. I wonder about these two. I don't have anything yet, but I'm just very fascinated. Their last name is Phoenix, the Firebird. Harry Houdini, he lived in Laurel Canyon, and his home had tunnels underneath it, and he was a magician, so he's in our magician category. Remember, Kubrick is a magician, and we see Kurt Russell playing chess with the chess wizard. So a wizard is a magician, and so this goes back to the Wizard of Oz, Don't you want to go where the rainbow ends? Goldie Hawn, he's married to so we have where is it? Kurt Russell. So Kurt Russell is married to Goldie Hawn, and he's a Mouseketeer. He wears the Woody Strode hat in They Live, which is a connection to Woody Strode in Operation Long Jump, High Jump. Her name is Goldie, so we have a character in Dr. Strangelove. He's one of the bomber pilots, which is a category. So he's Goldie the pilot, and of course all the pilots' names are alchemical. You have Ace, the bomber pilot. You have King Kong, the largest primate. The Bush Baby, the smallest. You have Goldie. You have what's the other guy? Oh, there's a guy, Sweets. This is a category I've identified. I'm not going to go into it right now, but these would be all the kind of candies. So the gumdrop and the I'm all out of bubble gum and all that stuff is all going to be in the sweets category. And of course, Goldie Hawn was a Playboy bunny, and Hawn, I think, is a play on the word horn. And of course, you have Audrey Horn, and you have the Minotaur has horns, and I'm so horny, and me so horny. And I've listed these before. It's extensive. You know, part of it is the Buck Turgidson and the Buck Flowers. They're both horned. And you have Tycho had a pet elk, which is horned. And the unicorn is, you know, the unicorn, and I'm forgetting some. But anyway, so there's a whole list of horns. So it's Goldie Hawn, Playboy model, wife of Kurt Russell, who's in The Thing. He wears the Woody Strode hat. You have Kate Hudson. I don't know where the connection is, but that's their daughter. She's Hungarian. Franz Liszt, I'm suspecting that he's in some of Kubrick's stuff, and I'm also suspecting there'll be clues to Bela Lugosi. I don't know of any yet. Bela Bartok is used in Kubrick's movies. His music is used. It's changed at the last minute. 2001, it's changed at the last minute. This guy right here, you probably don't know. He's a Hungarian dwarf star. So this is a really rare category that you have a Hungarian dwarf star actor. So I'm not sure what his backstory is. I don't know what he's in yet, but I know he's in a picture done by Billy McNeil, and Billy McNeil is the guy that does the picture All Things Jack with the Jack in the Box and the jackknife and the Jack Daniels and all the alchemical clues to the almost the entire category of all things Jack Nicholson and everything beginning with Jack. So with Johnny Carson, Jack of Spades, and One-Eyed Jackson. Dennis Gabor, I think this is Zsa Zsa Gabor's relation. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. This is the guy that invents holography. So in Star Wars, we see Obi-Wan Kenobi. We see the hologram, and the hologram plays, and it says, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. This "you're my only hope" thing is repeated as well. It's a repeating pattern. Marty says it to Doc. And we have the holographic hat in Back to the Future 3. You know, Marty wears the hat that changes colors when you move your head. It's a holographic hat. We have, the Rubik's Cube. So this is really clever. He's Hungarian. It's a multicolored puzzle. It involves a rotating cube, much like the Hinton cube. That's a hypercube model. It's multifaceted. It's multidimensional. And it's all arranged by colors. You know, you have Red Room and Blackjack and Clockwork Orange, and, you know, you get the idea. It's all different colors. The Violent Violet Volkswagen and all the different, you know, Color Me Kubrick and the rainbow, and it's all tied together. So there's all the Hungarians. And a lot of these people are already in the puzzle. So when we find John von Neumann, probably the most famous Hungarian scientist ever, and he's actually Mr. Philadelphia. And then in the list we find George Pal, the director of the movie The Time Machine. It becomes uncanny. So let's take a look. Let me pause this for a second. So here we have Hungarian actors, and we have Harry Houdini, the magician. He lives in Laurel Canyon. Eva Gabor, I think she did Green Acres. I don't know much about her. I suspect she's probably in this. Andre Dutoth, the one-eyed director of Carson City. Magda, I don't know her. We have River Phoenix, you know. This guy has got a neon sign around him right now that he's alchemical. What else do we have here? Yeah, I'm not really seeing anyone that's jumping out at me right now. But we know Jamie Lee Curtis. I don't know why she's not showing up in this, because she should be showing up in this. Yeah, I don't know. She's been omitted somehow. So this is not the full list. Let's see if we can find another one. Yeah, here's some Hungary. Here we go. Hungarians in Hollywood. So there's Tony Curtis, and this guy here. He's this is good. He's another does vampire movies. I can't think of his name right now. Goldie Hawn. Paul Newman. I don't know if he's Hungarian. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. So there's a list of famous Hungarians, scientists. Oh, here we go. Colombo. So I've got to do more research on it, but clearly there's a list of famous Hungarians, including George Pal, the man that directs the movie The Time Machine, which is an alchemical movie with Rod Taylor. He fits right into the puzzle. He dies young. And let's go further. So there's the composers, the Rubik Cube. Pause this.
Thank you for using.
So here we're going to see the fax machine, one of the repeating machines.
Fujitsu-san, konnichiwa.
Jennifer.
McFry! I was monitoring that scan you just interfaced. You are terminated!
Terminated? No! No! It wasn't my fault, sir! It was Needles! Needles was behind the whole
And you
thing!
cooperated!
No, I didn't! It was a
illegal.
sting
And
operation!
you
I was setting them up!
Read my
No!
facts!
Please, no, I cannot be fired! I'm fired!
So fire is a clue set in the puzzle, so he just got fired. And here it comes over 3 separate fax machines. One is inside the closet with Jennifer. I mean, who has a fax machine inside their closet? It doesn't make any sense. And there's the Van Gogh painting.
Ladies and gentlemen,
and here we are on the luckiest man alive,
dedicated
Fred.
to Hill Valley's #1 citizen and America's greatest living folk hero, the one and only Biff Tannen. Of course, we've all heard the legend, but who is the man? Inside, you will learn how Biff Tannen became one of the richest and most powerful men in America.
Yeah,
Learn the amazing history of the Tannen family, starting with his great-grandfather, Buford Mad Dog Tannen, fastest
Mad
gun in the
Dog.
West.
That's a
See
drink.
Biff's humble beginnings. Share in the excitement of a fabulous winning streak that earned him the nickname, the luckiest man on earth. And how a trip to the racetrack on his 21st birthday made him a millionaire overnight. Share in the excitement of a fabulous winning streak that earned him the nickname, the luckiest man on earth. Share in the excitement of a fabulous winning streak that earned him the nickname, the luckiest man on earth.
So here's the 4th of July speech by Lou Gehrig, the first man to get ALS
His beloved Yankee Stadium.
in his beloved Yankee Stadium.
I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
So then we have the luckiest man again with Tricky Dick Nixon.
I want you to know that I think I'm the luckiest man in the world.
Share in the excitement of a fabulous winning streak that earned him the nickname, the luckiest man on earth. Learn how Biff parlayed that lucky winning streak into the vast empire called Biffco.
So if you had a time machine, pretty much you would dominate any kind of financial industry from A to Z with gambling and stock market and you name it. You would just rule it and you would amass trillions, you know. It would be like shooting ducks in a barrel.
As he searched for true love.
So there's Monroe, that's one of our clues, first Playboy Bunny.
Don't stay up too late, okay?
Now we're going to go into the talking alarm clock. I think I showed this earlier. Oh no, I'm sorry. This isn't the talking alarm clock. This is the Reagan thread. So Longstreet is shortcut. There's no
Who's that name
shortcut.
she just said?
What?
Thanks for your report, Margaret. We'll be standing by
Never
for
mind.
the development.
Unless you have a time machine, obviously.
And now moving to the national.
Sir in Hollywood once who refused to hire a director, and the picture that he refused to hire the director for.
So
turned
here's
out to be a
Reagan,
failure.
Ronnie
The
Reagan.
next time the director's name came up, the producer
He
said
talked
that,
about Star Wars.
he was
I
associated
know this
with
guy. Is this
one of the
another
worst
movie?
failures I ever had. I think
No, David.
He also did a speech
It's
where he
not a
talked
movie.
about the alien influence in the, and then they try to kill him after that. So we got Reagan. And we go to Back to the Future 3. And we hear Beat It, which would be the king of pop, Michael Jackson. The last Moonwalker. Wacko Jacko. Yeah, we have electronic Michael Jackson.
Welcome to the Cafe 80s, where it's always morning in America.
And there we got Ronnie Reagan.
Our special today is
And Ronnie Reagan is a computerized vending machine, talking vending machine. Or in this case, a soda machine.
All I want is a Pepsi.
And of course he has the holographic hat on.
Hey, McFly.
So there's our soda pop, king of pop.
I'm telling the truth, Doc. You gotta believe me.
Then tell me, future boy,
Pop goes the weasel.
who's president of the United States in 1985?
Ronald Reagan.
Back to
Ronald
the Future
Reagan.
1 now.
The actor? Then who's vice president?
So now he's
Jerry
going to give us a
Lewis?
bunch of clues.
I suppose Jane
There's
Wyman is a
Mr.
first
MS.
lady.
Whoa, wait, Doc.
And Jack Benny is Secretary of the Treasury.
Doc, you gotta listen to me.
Jack Benny's all
Practical
things
jokes for
Jack.
one evening. Good night, future boy.
No, wait, Doc. Doc, the bruise in your head.
So,
I know how that
yeah,
happened.
they're-
You told me.
So we got beamed on the head. Here we have the loons on chapter 11. And then on the beginning of chapter 12. So you get the loon calls. Remember we have the Looney
Terminator was
Tunes.
just
and-
being systematic.
Well, let's go back to one other
Look,
thing.
you have heard enough. I have answered your questions. Now I have to see Sarah Connor.
I'm afraid that's not up to me.
Why am I talking to you?
Because I-
Who is
He's
an
Johnny
authority
Connor.
here? Shut up! You still don't get it, do you? He'll find her. That's what he does. That's
Sarah.
all he does. You can't stop him. He'll wait for you to reach down her throat and pull her fucking heart out.
Doc.
Let go of me.
Sorry.
So let's see what he has to say.
So Reese is crazy?
In technical terminology, he's a loon.
So there's her entire loon thread. You know, this goes back to Jack Nicholson. You out of your fucking mind. Sergeant Fat Guano and all the crazy threads. I've gone over these before. I may put that underneath this. And the loons in chapter 11 and 12. And here we're going to have the Apollo 15 landing map, and we clearly see all the alchemical stuff he's pointing us to. We have Offset Crater. We have Tecumseh is an Indian. Dandelion is a flower. Contact. That's a very interesting crater. Contact. Then we have OS Crater, Brandy Crater, North and South Twin Crater. Gateway is a PC. OS is operating system. And there's a Windows crater as well. And of course, Pegasus is a star system. It's a mythical horse. Its father is Neptune, and his attribute is the trident, which we see over and over and over and over again. We have the rainbow under the rainbow, over the rainbow, a reference to the Wizard of Oz. We have the Pink Floyd album with the rainbow on it, and Vivian Kubrick says it's entirely possible my father worked with Pink Floyd. We have the Pink Floyd album with the Mercury 7 astronauts on it, the white rabbit that we saw earlier, the alchemical following the Lewis Carroll White Rabbit. And, you know, the White Rabbit, Lewis Carroll, mirroring, doubling, halving, palindromes, Jabberwocky. The 42-degree rainbow is a repeating number pattern in Kubrick's puzzle. And what else is in this here? 42. The Liberty Bell. So we're being pointed to Philly and the Liberty Bell and Rocky, and he's a Looney Tune, Sylvester. Here's an interesting one. He plays Nash Bridges. So a Nash is a type of car, and bridges are in our puzzle. So the ghost ships, the Eldridge is a ghost ship, and we're clearly being pointed to it, and we're clearly being pointed to time travel. And I originally said that there would be 2 parts, then I said it would be 3, then it's 4. I said I'm saying 5, maybe 6 now, because I still haven't even gotten to the one with Kirk Douglas in it, the Final Countdown. I haven't even gotten to that movie. So it's getting longer every day, but I just wanted to say I got a lot of subscribers on that last video, and I wanted to thank everyone that subscribed. And if you learned something in this video, and I think just about everyone probably did, I would thumb it up or sub it. And if you like this series of videos, tell a friend, because this, Google is really not helping me in this regard. And that's it, guys. Carpe diem. Peace and love. I'm gonna do another one, and that's it. It's getting weirder every day. It really is. Carpe diem.